Hey folks, how you going? If you don't know who I am, my name's David Titeu and I'm the founder of Linkmate. We are a social enterprise devoted to proactive emotional support, and we believe that everyone should have a mate to turn to in times of need. Today, I want to share my experience of eating disorders and body image issues. And I want to acknowledge that whilst it is a challenge and an illness that affects many females and is often portrayed as a challenge that may only affect females. That's far from reality, and in fact, most of people who identify as males with eating disorders has tripled in the last 20 odd years. So yeah, look, I think to sort of unpack what it might look like in males, I think it might seem obvious to some, but from what I've read and reflecting certainly on my own experience, the main underlying issue is lack of muscle definition when it comes to body image dissatisfaction. And when I think about how this all started for me, when I was in sort of middle school, I guess, I was told I was quite skinny by a lot of my peers, and naturally that I was already pretty insecure as a kid growing up, so that really amplified that insecurity in a big way. So I guess to combat that, I picked up rowing at school because I saw that all of the guys that were doing it were all very athletic looking and very muscular and strong, and I wanted to be like that because I didn't want to be skinny. I picked up weight training as well to sort of go hand in hand with that. And I ended up really enjoying the sport and actually having a really fun time, and made a lot of friends through that. But I think it certainly had a dark side for me. I became really obsessed with fitness, sort of overtraining, tracking my caloric intake, and sort of weighing out my food, and sort of being very, very pedantic and very specific about what I would and wouldn't put in my body. And sometimes I would actually avoid social settings and situations just so I could go and work out and maintain this what I thought in my mind to be the sort of the ideal male physique. And I think that's certainly a problem that plagues everyone with eating disorders and body image issues, is that the sort of societal, the toxic societal perception that in this case the ideal male body should look like an Adonis is quite challenging to deal with, and difficult to sort of attain whatever that looks like. And so I sort of perpetuated this toxic perception, and by following a lot of bodybuilders and professional athletes and fitness gurus, and that was all the content that I would consume. And if I felt skinny one day and something didn't go my way, or I felt anxious or stressed, I would either make or order copious amounts of food. And it might when I wasn't tracking my caloric intake, it was actually quite unhealthy, and anything from pizza to tacos and chips, the list goes on. And I think if you ask most of my friends, they'll say that I'm a hungry guy or a hungry boy. But whilst that is true, I think I've just always tried to combat that feeling of feeling skinny, of being skinny, by overeating more than my body actually should be consuming. So I think then that sort of created an opposite effect where I would feel like I'm getting fat and like I'm getting a gut. And then I would go to the gym and aggressively train and sort of yo-yo between these two extremes to try and, bulk up, but remain lean. And so, yeah, I think, for a long time, it was a really vicious cycle for me. It impacted my mental health in a big way. And I guess what I've learned from this whole experience is not really to let my body and what I physically look like define me and define who I am. I think shaking that limiting belief has been really cathartic for me, and it might be for you as well. And now I've developed so many other reasons to exercise, not to try and look like the next Arnold Schwarzenegger, but rather to try and relieve any stress I might be dealing with and to just maintain good mental health. And so, instead of training for size and shape and ego like I used to, I try to train now to make my body move functionally well, so it'll serve me as I get older, and really try to limit those really disgusting and greasy cheat meals, and focus more on eating food that makes me feel good the next day, as opposed to food that I think might make my body look good, whether it's really, really healthy food, or really unhealthy food, which then I would combat by overtraining. So I think whenever I now get the feeling of being skinny or just not feeling like I'm enough physically, I just pause, and so I sort of, I guess, meditate on it and ask myself why, and just interrogate why I feel that way. And pretty much all the time I can't come up with a reasonable excuse, or rational reason, and realize I've probably just been swept up in the consumption of this really toxic content online, where it might show the extremes of bodybuilding and that sort of toxic representation and portrayal of what society might expect a man to look like. And what I would do is just unsubscribe from those pages and those influencers, and follow instead, and opt in for content that actually role models more functional fitness, and stuff that actually makes and helps your body move better, as opposed to look unreasonably fit. So I think just wrapping it all up together, I wanted to speak up and share what I've been through, in the hope that others, and other both males certainly, but people of all genders can open up about what they're going as well. I think in this particular case, men are definitely less likely to reach out and share stuff like this, and I think part of that might be because of the portrayal that eating disorders might only affect females. So I wanted to highlight that it's a serious issue that, whilst it plagues so many females, many of whom I know and who've dealt and grappled with the challenge, it can also affect a lot of males. And it's just like any other illness, it can affect anyone of all ages and backgrounds. So yeah, look, to conclude, I wanted to say that all I'm doing here, as per, is really just sharing my story, and what I've learned from the entire experience. Hopefully it can offer you the feeling of being less alone if you're going through similar things, and give you the confidence to know that it's okay to be vulnerable and share stuff like this openly, because the people around you love you and will support you through it. None of what I've talked about today is a substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. You should still seek the advice of an appropriately qualified healthcare professional before making any decisions about your own circumstances. And you can also access empathetic social support through Linkmate by scanning the code. I never get this right. There it is. By scanning the code next to me, if you're on a computer. And if you're watching this on your phone, you can download the app for free on the App Store and the Play Store. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for carving out some time out of your day to watch this. Ciao for now.